If you're watching this video, then you probably have a ranch, or you want to own a ranch, or maybe you just live in a small town. We're going to talk about how living on a ranch or an acreage, a homestead you might say, could literally save your hometown. I'm talking about your small hometowns. The populations are declining, right? Wrong. The populations are not going down in the small towns. Now, I know there's outliers, and yes, are they going down some? Probably. But the vast majority of the numbers that are leaving these small towns are coming from the acreages around. You know, the small town I'm from used to be the second biggest class in our state. And now we're one of the smallest. And the population of the town has not decreased that dramatically much. You know, most of what is gone are all the acreages around. I remember riding with my grandpa around and just pointing out, you know, there used to be a place there, you know, this person used to live there, our neighbor was there, and our cousins used to live down the road there, and more family was around this area. And now it seems like there was a whole point where so many families, you know, the young kids, they would go get their college degree, then they go move to the city. And then the land stayed in the hands of the, you know, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, and it stayed here. And then we have those kids that when mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, you know, pass it on, they just want the money quick. So it gets sold. Well, it gets sold to the highest bidder. And so we have the consolidation of the land, the consolidation of the ag market, if you will. And those investors who buy that land, those big buyers, they don't care about those little acreages on there. They think, oh, we can rent this out for how much per acre to a row crop guy. And it just ends up being a place where a pivot's swinging around. All the trees get cleared, all the acreages, the barns, the sheds, all of that history, all of that generational, you know, effort put into that is all gone. And so we have that happen over a course of, you know, 20, 30 years, 50 years maybe even, in some instances. And when this happens over and over and over again, we have what we have today. All our small town America is, you know, it's dying. There's no places for people to come back and live. You know, the small old houses in town, there's maybe some new towns, some up and coming towns, maybe just because of a business in town. But that ain't the population that you want. You know, I wouldn't say want, but it's not the population that you're used to. You're talking about the population of those little homesteaders, those little ranches, those little acreages. They used to be all around. You know, people love being in the country. They go to their, you know, their neighbors, and, you know, they had a few chickens, and then this guy was the beef guy, and, you know, they'd share those things. And I'm not saying we have to go back to the olden days, but I'm just saying that homesteading, small acreages are important to America. They're important to rural America. They're important to the way of life that we know, rural America. Those people that, you know, follow God, they're Christian, and they have the right core values, you know. And if you don't think if your core values aren't the same as mine, and you get offended that I said the right core values, well, then I'm sorry. But the truth is, I'm a Christian. I believe what I believe, and that's what I believe is right. And if I didn't, then I would be not me to stand up for that, right? Like, how do you say you believe in something if you can't back it? And you don't, and the first time you hit adversity, you know, swap and say, oh, maybe I don't believe this. No, then you don't truly believe. So, you know, I'm a Christian, and there's so many people in this area that they grew up with those morals. And that's what we need to get back to, those morals. Our belief system. What really built this country. And that's really why I'm putting these videos out there, to prove that a small ranch, a small homestead can be profitable. I'm focusing on beef because that's what I know. That's what I grew up around. As a commodity broker, I worked mostly with feedlots, hedging futures and options around that. I know topics on LRP, you know, some of the grant programs you can get, things for small ranchers, first-time buyers. As working at a bank, I understand the finances, how to track that stuff. That's why I built Agri Summit. I want to help more ranches, more small homesteads make it. I want to prove that you can make it profitable. I want to prove that. And that's why I'm doing this. And if this seems to be a video that's calling at you, I ask you to share it with your friends. Maybe 4 or 5 of your friends. Maybe you're a couple, young family, tired of the city, tired of the junk going on, and you want to go move to an acreage. Well, then heck, share this video with them. Maybe this is your calling. Maybe God's calling you back to the ranch. Maybe God's calling you into a homestead. It's different in every part of the country, but at the end of the day, a lot of us in rural America believe in the same things. Being a good person, we trust God, and man, we just want to help each other out. You know what I mean? And if you are a rancher or you do want to own cattle someday, check out Agri Summit in the description. But if you got any value from this, if you felt called by this and you want to share it with friends, I would appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this, or if you want a different topic to me to talk about. Let me know. The more subscribers I have to this channel, the more effort I can put into it, the more time I can put into these videos. Thank you guys for watching. God bless.